Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books on this all auspicious day of the appearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, accepted by every bona fide Vaishnava as the grandfather of the Hare Krishna movement. And he was, I don't know where to start. He appeared in a very illustrious family. His father's 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 father was Krishnananda King, the father of Narottam Das Thakur. And Nityananda Prabhu personally used to visit that place regularly. This was generations before Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he came in that family. And it was very opulent, very cultured family. But his whole life he was plagued with fevers and eye problems and so many problems. And then his whole village got wiped out by a plague. And he was a brilliant student in English. And this was just the time when the British were trying to take over India by educating the intellectual class in English and convincing them that the literature of the West was superior to the literature of India. Yeah. And they were doing a bang-up job of it. They were doing a really good job of it. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur came in the middle of that, and he studied all the different religions. He studied all the different literatures from the West, and gradually he came to the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was so following the culture at that time that he couldn't find a copy of the Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengal. He had to search and search and search. So he had 10 children. Nowadays, if you have one kid, you're lucky if you can, raise him properly. 10 children. He was district magistrate. The British authorities loved him because he was completely honest. He was very powerful, and if anyone disturbed their thing, he was right there. They could count on him. Everyone was trying to recruit him into their area all over India. He became such a big personality. He did that, and at the same time wrote more than 100 books and established more than 500 Namahata centers. What he did was Prabhupada's on that level after 70 years old, West, 100 books, 14 times around the world, 5,000 disciples, 108 centers. Same. But so I'm going to do this to honor him now before we hear the Srimad-Bhagavatam. I want to read to you a work that he wrote. It's called Dalaler Gita. Dalaler Gita, Song of the Broker.
What year was this?
This was 1893. Put it into perspective. I am singing the news of the greatest happy tidings at the place known as Surabhikunj in Sri Navadvip. A marketplace of the holy name has now been opened, and Lord Nityananda himself is the proprietor in chief. 2. Such wonderful things are going on in that blissful marketplace. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is selling the pure, unadulterated, holy name wholesale. merely for the price of one's faith. 3. Seeing the assembly of devotees eagerly waiting to purchase the name, Lord Nityananda examines them all, one by one, to test the degree of their receptivity. And then he sells them the name individually by bargaining for his price accordingly. 4. O brother, my dear friend, if you really want to purchase this pure holy name, then come. Just come with me, for I am now going to meet with that very same Nityananda Mahajan. 5. Thus, you will finally be able to purchase the pure holy name. I will also take my commission. And in this way, all three of us will fulfill our desires. 7. The very second that Nitai sees a tear welling in someone's eyes upon chanting the name Gora, he instantly gives his support to that person. Indeed, he bestows all divine opulences upon him. 8. He gives that person genuine realization of the pure teachings of Sri Krishna as found in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-Bhagavatam. While giving all this inconceivable mercy, he never cares in the least for one's position in relation to caste, material wealth, mundane knowledge, or physical ability. 9. Now, dear brothers, just reject the illusory network of Maya's entangling snares. If you are a householder, then just remain at your home. If you are renounced, then just live peacefully in the forest. Either way, you will experience no more misery. 10. Now there is no more fear of the terrible age of quarrel, for the most merciful Lord Nityananda gives the holy name to anyone and everyone, even the lowest among men. 11. Bhaktivinoda loudly calls out and advises, except for the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, there is no other shelter. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. So he literally revived Lord Chaitanya's movement, which had become it was almost non-existent. You know, everyone that was doing anything that resembled Krishna consciousness, whether it was Sahaja or Sakibeki or, you know, Gauraganagari or some kind of deviation. Very difficult. Single-handedly he did that. In India. So we should today gather up our gratitude and our love and affection and give it all to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Hare Krishna. Okay. He was called the seventh Goswami because just like the six Goswamis, on the order of Lord Chaitanya, went to Vrindavan and found and excavated all the holy places of pilgrimage. I mean, Lord Chaitanya found Radhakund. All the other places were found That was like a focal point, and then all the other places they found by the Goswamis. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by incredible research, spiritual strength, making friends with local people, and finding out, he found out in many ways where Mayapur was. It's okay. And he discovered the place of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, the exact spot. He was in his house on the other side of the Jalangi, and he looked over, and he saw a blazing building, huge blazing building. And then he started figuring out where it was. He actually saw a palm tree. And then he went over there and he found that palm tree. So he saw in the general area where it was. And then he started asking all the, and there were people, very old people there, who, had heard something. I can't find it. It's right in the middle of this book. And there was a verse that came, not a spiritual verse, but it was a verse that came that showed that that Mayapur was actually that place, and that Gauranga Mahaprabhu lived there. He found it in writing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, Sanatana Goswami was the senior. Well, Rupa Goswami was senior in the spiritual sense, but Sanatana Goswami was his older brother, and Rupa Goswami considered him his spiritual master. So in a sense, Sanatana Goswami is the senior of the 6 Goswamis. So he glorified Srimad-Bhagavatam, and we say it every day, and we're going to say it again today with some special verve. It comes from the special day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day. Srimad-Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram, and it goes like this. Sarva Shastabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprida. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvan Doditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life heir of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Padaya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Mareka Bando Mat Sangin Mad Guru Mad Mahadana Mad Nistadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dayin Atini Chuchatakara Hanamuncha Gadachin Mam Premna Rit Gantayospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, beginning with text 32. There's a number of pastimes in this chapter, one of which is that Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth to Mother Yasoda. Beginning with text 32. One day, while Krishna was playing with his small playmates, including Balarama and other sons of the Gopas, all his friends came together and lodged a complaint to Mother Yasoda. Mother, they submitted, Krishna has eaten earth. Purport. Here is another of Krishna's transcendental activities invented to please the gopis. First, a complaint was lodged with Mother Yasoda about Krishna stealing, but Mother Yasoda did not chastise him. Now, in an attempt to awaken Mother Yasoda's anger so that she would chastise Krishna, another complaint was invented, that Krishna had eaten dirt, or earth. Text 33. Upon hearing this from Krishna's playmates, Mother Yasoda, who was always full of anxiety over Krishna's welfare, picked Krishna up with her hands to look into his mouth and chastise him. Her eyes fearful, she spoke to her son as follows. Text 34. Dear Krishna, why are you so restless that you have eaten dirt in a solitary place? This complaint has been lodged against you by all your playmates, including your elder brother, Balarama. How is this? Purport. Mother Yasoda was agitated by Krishna's restless misbehavior. Her house was full of sweetmeats. Why then should the restless boy eat dirt in a solitary place? Krishna replied, My dear mother, they have plotted together and lodged a complaint against me so that you will punish me. My elder brother, Balarama, has joined them. Actually, I have not done this. Take my word as true. Do not be angry and chastise me. Text 35. Lord Sri Krishna replied, My dear mother, I have never eaten dirt. All my friends complaining against me are liars. If you think they are being truthful, you can directly look into my mouth and examine it. Purport. Krishna presented himself as an innocent child to increase the transcendental ecstasy of maternal affection. As described in the Shastra, Tadana Bayan Mituyuktir Vatsalya Rasa Poshika. This means that sometimes a small child speaks lies. For example, he may have stolen something or eaten something and yet deny that he has done so. We ordinarily see this in the material world, but in relation to Krishna, it is different. Such activities are meant to endow the devotee with transcendental ecstasy. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was playing as a liar and accusing all the other devotees of being liars. As stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam 10, 12, 11, Krita Punya Punja, a devotee may attain such an ecstatic position that after many, many births of devotional, a devotee may attain such an ecstatic position after many, many births of devotional service. Persons who have amassed the results of a vast amount of pious activities can attain the stage of associating with Krishna and playing with him like ordinary playmates. One should not consider these transactions of transcendental service to be untruthful accusations. One should never accuse such devotees of being ordinary boys speaking lies, for they attained this stage of associating with Krishna by great austerities, tapasa, brahmacharyena, shamena, cha, damena cha. Prabhupada told us if you go out and distribute these books, which everyone who's done it knows is a great austerity, then you'll get this. blessing. Mother Yasoda challenged Krishna. If you have not eaten earth, then open your mouth wide. That when challenged by his mother in this way, Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, to exhibit pastimes like a human child, opened his mouth. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is full of all opulences, did not disturb his mother's paternal affection, his opulence was automatically displayed, for Krishna's opulence is never lost at any stage, but is manifest at the proper time. Purport. Without disturbing the ecstasy of his mother's affection, Krishna opened his mouth and displayed his own natural opulences. When a person is given varieties of food, there may be 101 varieties, but if one likes ordinary shak, spinach, he prefers to eat that. Similarly, Haribo, Hare Krishna. Similarly, although Krishna was full of opulences, now by the order of Mother Yasoda, he opened wide his mouth like a human child and did not neglect the transcendental humor of maternal affection. Text 37 through 39. When Krishna opened his mouth wide by the order of Mother Yasoda, she saw within his mouth all moving and non-moving entities, outer space, and all directions, along with mountains, islands, oceans, the surface of the earth, the blowing wind, fire, the moon, and stars. She saw the planetary systems, water, light, air, sky, and creation by transformation of ahankara. She also saw the senses, the mind, sense perception, and the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. She saw the time allotted for the living entities. She saw natural instincts and the reactions of karma, and she saw desires and different varieties of bodies, moving and non-moving. Seeing all these aspects of the cosmic manifestation, along with herself and Vrindavan Dham, she became doubtful and fearful of her son's nature. Purport. All the cosmic manifestation that exist on the gross and subtle elements, as well as the means of their agitation, the three gunas, the living entity, creation of the Lord, a creation, maintenance, annihilation, and everything going on in the external energy of the Lord, all this comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. Everything is within the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya Dyakshina Prakriti Suyute Sachadachadam. Everything in the material nature, Prakriti, works under his control. Because all these manifestations come from Govinda, they could all be visible within the mouth of Govinda. Quite astonishingly, Mother Yasoda was afraid because of intense maternal affection. She could not believe that within the mouth of her son such things could appear. Yet she saw them, and therefore she was struck with fear and wonder. Text 40. Mother Yasoda began to argue within herself, is this a dream? Or is it an illusory creation by the external energy? Has this been manifested by my own intelligence? Or is it some mystic power of my child? Purport. When Mother Yasoda saw this wonderful manifestation within the mouth of her child, she began to argue within herself about whether it was a dream. Then she considered, I am not dreaming, because my eyes are open. Simple person. I'm not dreaming because my eyes are open. I'm actually seeing what is happening. I'm not sleeping, nor am I dreaming. Then maybe this is an illusion created by Deva Maya. But that is also not possible. What business would the demigods have showing such things to me? I am an insignificant woman with no connection with the demigods. Why should they take the trouble to put me into Deva Maya? That also is not possible. Then Mother Yasoda considered whether the vision might be due to bewilderment. I am fit in health. I am not diseased. Why should there be any bewilderment? It is not possible that my brain is deranged, since I am ordinarily quite fit to think. Then this vision must be due to some mystic power of my son, as predicted by Garga Muni. Thus she finally concluded that the vision was due to her son's activities and nothing else. Text 41. Therefore let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offer my obeisances unto Him, who is beyond the conception of human speculation, the mind, activities, words, and arguments, who is the original cause of this cosmic manifestation, by whom the entire cosmos is maintained, and by whom we can conceive of its existence. Let me simply offer my obeisances, for He is beyond my contemplation, speculation, and meditation. He is beyond all of my material activities. Purport. One simply has to realize the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should not try to understand Him by any material means, subtle or gross. Mother Yasoda, being a simple woman, could not find out the real cause of the vision. Therefore, out of material affection, she simply offered obeisances unto the Supreme Lord to protect her child. She could do nothing but offer obeisances to the Lord. It is said, Achintya kalu ye bhava na tangs tarkina yojayet. Mahabharata Bhishma Parva 5:22. One should not try to understand the supreme cause by argument or reasoning. When we are beset by some problem for which we can find no reason, there is no alternative than to surrender to the Supreme Lord and offer Him our respectful obeisances. Then our position will be secure. This was the means adopted in this instance also by Mother Yasoda. Whatever happens, the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sarva Karana Karanam. When the immediate cause cannot be ascertained, let us simply offer our obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord. Mother Yasoda concluded that the wonderful things she saw within the mouth of her child were due to Him, although she could not clearly ascertain the cause. Therefore, when a devotee cannot ascertain the cause of suffering, he concludes, Tate nukampam sushumik shamano bunjana evatmikritam pipakam ridvag bapur bir bidadan namaste jivet yo mukti pade sabdaya bhak. Bhagavatam 10:14-8. The devotee accepts that it is due to his own past misdeeds that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has caused him some small amount of suffering. Thus he offers obeisances to the Lord again and again. Such a devotee is called Mukti Pade Sadaya Bhak. That is, he is guaranteed his liberation from this material world. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:14, Matras Parshas Tukonteya Chitoshna Sukadukada Agama Payino Nityas Tongues Titikshas Sabharata. We should know that material suffering due to the material body will come and go. Therefore we must tolerate the suffering and proceed with discharging our duty as ordained by our spiritual master. Text 42. It is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, that Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj, all the wealth of cows and calves are my possessions, and all the cowherd men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. Purport. Following in the footsteps of Mother Yasoda, everyone should follow this mentality of renunciation. I'll repeat that, if you don't mind. Objections? Okay. Following in the footsteps of Mother Yasoda, everyone should follow this mentality of renunciation. Whatever wealth, opulence, or whatever else we may possess belongs not to us, but to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate shelter of everyone and the ultimate owner of everything. As stated by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Yatva Mam Shantim Richjati. The stage is knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. We should not be proud of our possessions. As expressed by Mother Yasoda herein, I am not the owner of possessions, the opulent wife of Nanda Maharaj. The estate, the possessions, the cows and calves, and the subjects like the gopis and cowherd men are all given to me. One should give up thinking of my possessions, my son and my husband. Janasya moho yamaham mameti. Nothing belongs to anyone but the Supreme Lord. Only because of illusion do we wrongly think I am existing or everything belongs to me. Thus Mother Yasoda, completely surrendering under the Supreme Lord. Thus Mother Yasoda completely surrendered under the Supreme Lord. For the moment she was rather disappointed, thinking, my endeavors to protect my son by charity and other auspicious activities are useless. The Supreme Lord has given me many things, but unless He takes charge of everything, there is no assurance of protection. I must therefore ultimately seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavatam 7:9-19, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro nishinga. The father and mother cannot ultimately take care of their children. Ato grihat chetra sutaptra bitayar janasya moho yamaham mameti. 558. One's land, home, wealth, and all of one's possessions belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although we wrongly think, I am this, and these things are mine. Text 43. Mother Yasoda, by the grace of the Lord, could understand the real truth. But then again, the Supreme Master, by the influence of the internal potency, Yogamaya, inspired her to become absorbed in intense maternal affection for her son. Purport. Although Mother Yasoda understood the whole philosophy of life, at the next moment she was overwhelmed by affection for her son, by the influence of Yogamaya. Unless she took care of her son Krishna, she thought, how could he be protected? She could not think otherwise, and thus she forgot all her philosophical speculations. This forgetfulness is described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as being inspired by the influence of Yogamaya. Mohana sadharmyam mayam. Materialistic persons are captivated by Mahamaya, whereas devotees, by the arrangement of the spiritual energy, are captivated by Yogamaya. Text 44. Immediately forgetting Yogamaya's illusion that Krishna had shown the universal form within his mouth, Mother Yasoda took her son on her lap as before, feeling increased affection for her in her heart for her transcendental child. Purport. Mother Yasoda regarded the vision of the universal form within Krishna's mouth as an arrangement of Yogamaya, like a dream. As one forgets everything after a dream, Mother Yasoda immediately forgot the entire incident. As her natural feeling of affection increased, she decided to herself, now let this incident be forgotten. I do not mind. Here is my son. Let me kiss him. Text 45. So it's not that the residents of Vrindavan don't know that Krishna is supreme. He does things that you just... But their love for him is so powerful that it doesn't allow them to think that he is God. Because then how could she think like this? That's pure love of God. Text 45. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Yasoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the purpose of studying the Vedas is to understand him. Vidaishta sarvar aham vivavedya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami that there are three purposes in the Vedas. One is to understand our relationship with Krishna, sambandha. Another is to act according to that relationship, abhideya. And the third is to reach the ultimate goal, prayojana. The word prayojana means necessities, and the ultimate necessity is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, prema, pumarto mahan. The greatest necessity for the human being is the achievement of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here we see that Mother Yasoda is on the highest stage of necessity, for she is completely absorbed in love for Krishna. In the beginning, the Vedic purpose is pursued in three ways, trayi, by karma kanda, jnana kanda, and upasana kanda. When one reaches the complete, perfect stage of upasana kanda, one comes to worship Narayana, or Lord Vishnu. When Parvati asked Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, what is the best method of upasana, or worship, Lord Shiva answered, Aradhanam sarvesham, Vishnur aradhanam param. Vishnu pasana, or Vishwaradhana, worship of Lord Vishnu, is the highest stage of perfection, as realized by Devaki. But here, Mother Yasoda performs no upasana, for she has developed transcendental ecstatic love for Krishna. Therefore, her position is better than that of Devaki. In order to show this, Srila Vyasadeva enunciates this verse, Traya Cho Papanishad B. When a human being enters into the study of the Vedas to obtain vidya, knowledge, he begins to take part in human civilization. Then he advances further to study the Upanishads, and gain Brahma-jnana, impersonal realization of the absolute truth. And then he advances still further to Sankhya Yoga in order to understand the Supreme Controller, who is indicated in Bhagavad Gita, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shasvatam. When one understands that Purusha, the Supreme Controller, to be Paramatma, one is engaged in the method of yoga. Dhyana vasti tatadgatena manasa pashanti yam yoginaha. But Mother Yasoda had surpassed all these stages. She had come to the platform of loving Krishna as her beloved child, and therefore she is accepted to be on the highest stage of spiritual realization. The absolute truth is realized in three features: Brahmiti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti Shabhyate. But she is in such ecstasy that she does not care to understand what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, or what is Bhagavan. Bhagavan has personally descended to become her beloved child. Therefore, there is no comparison to Mother Yasoda's good fortune, as declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramya kachit upasana vrajavadu vargena ka ya kalpita. The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may be realized in different stages. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4:11, Yayatam mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham manuvartante manusyak partha sarvashaha. As men surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. One may be a karmi, a jnani, a yogi, and then a bhakta or prema bhakta. But the ultimate stage of realization is prema bhakti, as actually demonstrated by Mother Yasoda. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text 46. Having heard of the great fortune of Mother Yasoda, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O learned Brahmana, Mother Yasoda's breast milk was sucked by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What past auspicious activities did she and Nanda Maharaj perform to achieve such perfection in ecstatic love? Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:16, Chaturvidha bhajante mam janak sukritanorjuna. Without sukriti, or pious activities, no one can come to the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is approached by four kinds of pious men: Arto, Jigyasur, Artharti, Jnani, Cha. But here we see that Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda surpassed all of them. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj naturally inquired, what kind of pious activities did they perform in their past lives by which they achieved such a stage of perfection? Of course, Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda are accepted as the father and mother of Krishna. Yet Mother Yasoda was more fortunate than Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, because Nanda Maharaj was sometimes separated from Krishna, whereas Yasoda, Krishna's mother, was not separated from Krishna at any moment. From Krishna's babyhood to his childhood, and from his childhood to his youth, Mother Yasoda was always in association with Krishna. Even when Krishna was grown up, he would go to Vrindavan and sit on the lap of Mother Yasoda. Therefore, there is no comparison to the fortune of Mother Yasoda. And Parikshit Maharaj naturally inquired, Yashoda cha mahabhaga. Text 47. Although Krishna was so pleased with Vasudeva and Devaki that he descended as their son, they could not enjoy Krishna's magnanimous childhood pastimes, which are so great that simply chanting about them vanquishes the contamination of the material world. Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, however, enjoyed these pastimes fully, and therefore their position is always better than that of Vasudeva and Devaki. Purport. Krishna actually took birth from the womb of Devaki, but just after his birth, he was transferred to the home of Mother Yasoda. Devaki could not even have Krishna suck her breast. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj was astonished. How had Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj become so fortunate that they enjoyed the complete childhood pastimes of Krishna, which are still glorified by saintly persons? What had they done in the past by which they were elevated to such an exalted position? Text 48. Shukadeva Goswami said, to follow the orders of Lord Brahma, Drona, the best of the Vasus, along with his wife Dara, spoke to Lord Brahma in this way. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhabita Abhis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi Goloka Eva Nivasat Jakilatma Bhuto Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. When Krishna descends anywhere, he is accompanied by his own associates. These associates are not ordinary living beings. Krishna's pastimes are eternal, and when he descends, he comes with his associates. Therefore, Nanda and Mother Yasoda are the eternal father and mother of Krishna. This means that whenever Krishna descends, he comes with his associates. Therefore, Nanda and Mother Yasoda are the eternal father and mother of Krishna. I'm repeating this. This means that whenever Krishna descends, Nanda and Yasoda, as well as Vasudeva and Devaki, are also descend as the Lord's father and mother. These personalities are expansions of Krishna's personal body. They are not ordinary living beings. Maharaj Parikshit knew this, but he was curious to know from Shukadeva Goswami whether it is possible for any human being to come to this stage by sadhana siddhi. There are two kinds of perfection, nitya siddhi and sadhana siddhi. A nitya siddha is one who eternally Krishna's associate, an expansion of Krishna's personal body, whereas a sadhana siddha is an ordinary human being who, by executing pious activities and following regulative principles of devotional service, also comes to that stage. Thus, the purpose of Maharaj Parikshit's inquiry was to determine whether an ordinary human being can attain the position of Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. Shukadeva Goswami answered this question as follows. 49. Drona and Dara said, please permit us to be born on the planet Earth, so that after our appearance, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller and Master of all planets, will also appear and spread devotional service, the ultimate goal of life, so that those born in this material world may very easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting this devotional service. Purport. This statement by Drona clearly indicates that Drona and Dara are the eternal father and mother of Krishna. Whenever there is a necessity of Krishna's appearance, Drona and Dara appear first, and then Krishna appears. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that his birth is not ordinary. Janma karma chame divyam. Ajopi sanabhyayatma. Bhutanam ishvaro pisan. Prakritim swam adhishtaya. Sambhavam Yat Mamayaya. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Bhagavad Gita 4:6. Before Krishna's appearance, Drona and Dara appear in order to become his father and mother. It is they who appear as Nanda Maharaj and his wife Yasoda. In other words, it is not possible for a sadhana siddha living being to become the father or mother of Krishna, for Krishna's father and mother are already designated. But by following the principles exhibited by Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda and their associates, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, ordinary living beings, may attain such affection as exhibited by Nanda and Yasoda. When Drona and Dara were requested to beget children, they chose to come to this world to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son, Krishna. Krishna's appearance means Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Shadushkitam. The devotees are protected and the miscreants are vanquished. Whenever Krishna comes, he distributes the highest goal of life, devotional service. He appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the same purpose, because unless one comes to devotional service, one cannot be delivered from the miseries of the material world. Dukalayam Ashasvatam, where the living beings struggle for existence. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 15:7, Mamai Bhangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutak Sanatanaha Manak Shastranindriyani Prakriti-stani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Because of conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entities are struggling to become happy, but unless they take to the bhakti cult, their happiness is not possible. Krishna clearly says, Asharadana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nivartante Mrityu Sangsara Vartmani. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. Bhagavad Gita 9:3. Foolish persons do not know how risky life is here if one does not follow the instructions of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, has been started so that by practicing Krishna consciousness, one can avoid the risky life of this material existence. There is no question of accepting or not accepting Krishna consciousness. It is not optional. It is compulsory. If we do not take to Krishna consciousness, our life is very risky. Everything is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, to learn how to become free from the miserable condition of material existence, Bhagavad Gita as it is the preliminary study. Then, if one understands Bhagavad Gita, one can proceed to Srimad-Bhagavatam. And if one advances further, one may study Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are therefore presenting these invaluable books to the whole world so that people may study them and be happy, being delivered from miserable, conditional life. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Okay, stop here. Take our open mic around the room to see who has something to say about what we just heard.
Maharaj, we only have 3 more verses, and I promise it's a one short group.
Oh, all right. Text 50. I'm easy. When Brahma said, Yes, let it be so. The most fortunate Drona, who was equal to Bhagavan, appeared in Brajapur, Vrindavan, as the most famous Nanda Maharaj, and his wife Dara appeared as Mother Yasoda. Purport. Because whenever Krishna appears on this earth, he superficially needs a father and mother. Drona and Dara, his eternal father and mother, appeared on earth before Krishna as Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda. In contrast to Sutapa and Prishni, they did not undergo severe penances and austerities to become the father and mother of Krishna. This is the difference between Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Text 51. Thereafter, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharats, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead became the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, they maintained continuous, unswerving devotional love in parental affection. And in their association, all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Gopas and Gopis, developed the culture of Krishna Bhakti. Purport. Although when the Supreme Personality of Godhead stole the butter, yogurt, and milk of the neighboring Gopas and Gopis, this teasing superficially seemed troublesome. In fact, it was an exchange of affection in the ecstasy of devotional service. The more the Gopas and Gopis exchanged feelings with the Lord, the more their devotional service increased. Sometimes we may superficially see that a devotee is in difficulty because of being engaged in devotional service, but the fact is different. When a devotee suffers for Krishna, that suffering is transcendental enjoyment. I'll repeat that. When a devotee suffers for Krishna, that suffering is transcendental enjoyment. Unless one becomes a devotee, this cannot be understood. When Krishna exhibited his childhood pastimes, not only did Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda increase their devotional affection, but those in their association also increased in devotional service. In other words, persons who follow the activities of Vrindavan will also develop devotional service in the highest perfection. Text 52. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, along with Balaram, lived in Brajabhumi, Vrindavan, just to substantiate the benediction of Brahma. By exhibiting different pastimes in his childhood, he increased the transcendental pleasure of Nanda and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 8th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna Shows the Universal Form Within His Mouth. Okay. This is a very deep subject. I could anticipate a question. When I was editing Shivaram Maharaj's books many years ago, we came upon a section of commentaries in which this issue is explained authoritatively and conclusively. The point was already made that you can't become the father or mother of Krishna. Those positions are already taken. The father and mother of Krishna are eternal. But the special souls who were defined here in the purport as expansions of Krishna's body rather than jivas, those special souls, they have the same capacity that Krishna has to expand themselves. So wherever Krishna goes, the original mother and Yasoda expand themselves. They stay there as Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, but they expand themselves at the same time, just like Krishna expands himself. And they take the roles of Krishna, mother and father, in different positions. So when, and the same goes for Vasudeva and Devaki. So when it said that Prishni and Sutapa did austerities, they didn't become the parents by doing austerities. They were already expansions of them in the higher planets. And they came to Earth at that time to become parents of Krishna, and their forms merged into the original Vasudeva and Devaki, who come directly from Goloka to become the mother and father of Krishna. The difference is that one of them prayed to have Krishna, a son like Krishna, and the others prayed just to be Krishna's parent so that he could spread love of Krishna. They had no personal motive. Or no, not personal motive, but no separate motive. They had no other desire. They had no personal motive. And therefore, in Vrindavan and Mayapur, Mathura and Dwarka, the quality of the love is a little different. The mood, rather, is a little different. So if you think that you can become Yasoda or Nanda Maharaj by your devotional service, then you're a Mayavadi. In the same way as if you think you can become Krishna, you're a Mayavadi. A little complicated, but that's our acharyas. That's the conclusion of our acharyas. Prana, go ahead. Go for it.
I really like that purport where Mother Yasoda looks into the mouth of Krishna and she starts to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes how a devotee might not, a pure devotee might not understand the reason for his or her suffering or predicament, but Mother Yasoda is exhibiting what a pure devotee does. They just take shelter of the Lord, they surrender. And he quoted Tattenukam Pam verse from 10:14:8 as what that surrender looks like, that it must have been something, some sinful activity I did, and this is a token reaction to purify me. That's how the devotee thinks when there's kind of like no cause for one's suffering. They take that humble position and think somehow or other Krishna is just being merciful to me and giving me some token reaction. And I think that's just such a nice consciousness, which God, I aspire for that.
Oh yeah, it's one of the verses that Prabhupada paraphrases the most in his books. It's repeated again and again because it's so important, it's so essential in devotional life to know that and to be able to respond like that to difficulties or distress or whatever, spontaneously. This is very rare. And that makes us eligible. Automatically we're eligible. If we can actually learn to think like that, or not just learn but become purified enough to think like that spontaneously, then we're there. Because it's just a matter of time. Yes, Bhakti Chris.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this reading. That was great. I wanted to reflect on what you just said. Not when learning this quality, it's not necessarily learning it. It's purifying oneself to possess it or embody it, and that leads me to think that these are different pathways: learning, educating, and purifying, which is having faith in the Lord and letting go of what is learned. Is that?
It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you take in from outside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It's already there. Pure devotion is there in the heart of every Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sabhuhavanoi. Pure love for Krishna is there in the heart of every living being, no matter what kind of body they have. But it needs to be reawakened.
Mm-hmm.
And the human form of life gives us an opportunity to reawaken it.
Wonderful.
By
Thank
hearing
you.
and by chanting Krishna's glories from the lips of pure devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Then it acts like a transcendental alarm clock. Wakes us up.
Thank you.
And there's only one path to get it. It's not that there's many paths to get it.
Mm-hmm.
There's many paths of purification, but there's only one path to get this pure love of God, and that's pure devotional service. It's the goal of purification. It's the goal of life. There isn't any higher goal. But it's not that you get that higher goal and then things become, that's it, you don't look anymore, there's no more variety, there's no more interesting things happening. It's just like, that's the impersonalist conception. They get to the goal and then that's it, and they merge. And there's no more endeavor, there's no more activity, there's no more loving exchange. It's a business. Yes, Dr. Duck.
Maharaj, I just wanted to ask, so for the sadhana siddha, what would the someone who would attain that rasa of vatsalya, what would that be like?
Then they would be associates or servants of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, or servants of their servants of their servants.
Okay.
They would be elder personalities or senior personalities in Vrindavan, and they would get to, see Krishna come and steal butter from their house, and then, go and complain to Mother Yasoda, and then sit there and see Krishna smile and, have everything become completely blissful just by the smile. Yes, Prana.
I also like when Mother Yasoda gets recovered up by the Yoga Maya.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of one passage in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Jagannath Mishra had a dream of some Brahmana coming to him and telling him, you can't chastise your son Nimai like this. Don't you know who he is? And there's this argument between Jagannath Mishra and this Brahmana in his dream about, he says, no, this is my son, and I don't care, even if he's Narayan, the duty of a father is to train him and educate him, and, I need to correct him, and then Krishnadas Kaviraj writes that his Vatsalya Prema was so great that he didn't want to know anything other than this. So even at all the best arguments, he couldn't accept, and it's amazing.
That's the word. Thank you. What else? Yes, Marcus.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol Bhakti Marcus.
Thank you for the reading. I just had, I guess it's a simple question. So when Mother Yasoda is flustered by the universal form and she's praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is she envisioning the four-armed Vishnu form? Or what is exactly her conception of...
Well, in Braj, they worship Vishnu, four-armed Vishnu, because they're in the material world. Of course, this is Prakat Lila. There's also manifestations of deity worship of... Anyway, it's different. In Goloka Vrindavan, it's different. But when it comes to when he brings his pastimes into the material world, definitely they have deities of Vishnu, and they live the Vedic culture.
Okay. Thank you.
There are a couple of questions online.
A couple of questions online, just enough, because I got some of the phone call coming in at 7:30.
This one's by Jayashri Devi Dasi.
Jai Shri, Hare Krishna.
I believe I think you already answered some of this, but I'll say it. She says, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. The reading today is so sweet and time just passed so fast. Can we read a little bit longer each time? One question. We heard today that there are Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Is a Sadhana Siddha attaining the same outcome when he achieves perfection by sadhana when compared to the Nitya Siddha?
Well, they can't, the distinction's being made here that they can't achieve the position of Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. You can't, by sadhana siddha, you can't become Nanda Maharaj or Yasoda. But you can become an associate of Nanda and Yasoda in Goloka Vrindavan and achieve the same nectar, the same ecstasy. So therefore, Prabhupada made the statement many times in his books that once one has attained the sadhana siddha, he becomes nitya siddha. He goes back to the spiritual world and he doesn't have to come back to the material world again. And if he does, it is just for pastimes, just for a specific service or something like that.
And this last one is by Vilas Manjari Dasi.
Hare Krishna Vilas Manjari.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. In this canto, we are hearing often about Yogamaya. Yogamaya has been discussed as being Subhadra and also Purnamasi, and I read elsewhere that the original Yogamaya is the internal potency, and that is Radharani. Could you clarify, please? Thank you.
Yogamaya is eternally Yogamaya, Purnamasi, and she is different than Subhadra. Subhadra that appeared was Mahamaya, an expansion of Yogamaya. Therefore, she went into the air in 6 arms, or 8 arms, or however many arms there were. And then, once the message was delivered to Kamsa, she dispersed herself into different deity forms all over India, so that people worship Lord Durga, material energy, personified material energy. Personified material energy is an expansion of Yogamaya. But Yogamaya in the spiritual world is Purnamasi. And when Krishna comes to the material world, she also comes. And she has that role in Krishna Lila. And Radharani is the source of all energies, all female forms. So you can say that she's an expansion, but she's eternally that special person who organizes situations in such a way that both Radha and Krishna forget. They forget who they are. By the influence of Yogamaya, Krishna empowers Yogamaya with that, allows her to affect him in such a way that he can forget. And Radharani also can forget. And all the residents of Braj, they forget that Krishna's God by the influence of Yogamaya. There's also a type of Yogamaya in Vaikuntha that gives, that's an expansion that gives, that allows the devotees to think that they are, to have pure love for Krishna. But it's different. It's not spontaneous. It's mixed with opulence and reverence. There's a tinge of friendship. There's a tinge of in servitude. There's a tinge of friendship, but it doesn't go further than that. You can't get spontaneous friendship or spontaneous vatsalya, parental love, or conjugal love in Bhakti-ras. Can't get that in Vaikuntha. That's only in Goloka Vrindavan. And that's arranged by Yogamaya. So she's a pretty important person, to say the least. Okay? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, the baby pastimes, childhood pastimes, the Sri Krishna ki jai, Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Okay, tomorrow is Thursday. We'll see you same time, same station, same place.